What is going on, Amazon sellers? Happy Thursday. We are almost through. It is almost the end of, the end of Q4, really, but the beginning of a new year and gift card season and all that. We've only got a few more days. Now, I know that we are starting a little bit early. We're actually starting right on time because I've got to be a little quick tonight, but I didn't want to break the chain. I wanted to make sure that I am staying consistent for a couple of reasons. Number one, I want to show by doing that being consistent is more important than anything else. Speed is great in the near term, but consistency is really what moves the needle long term. And so earlier today, I actually decided to make this 30-day test of daily lives a 90-day test to see how it goes and see how it moves the needle when it comes to things like YouTube and helping you folks out. So we are going to run through things very quickly today. I've got to be out of here at 5:55, no later. So if you have questions, make sure to drop them in the chat. And this is your first time here, welcome in. I'm Chris Grant. I'm your host, and I am here to answer any of your questions. And of course, I will bring a tip as well. And I've got something tonight that I think should be pretty helpful. Someone asked the other day about virtual assistants and how to hire them. And so I went in and I put something together. I talked about it being a funnel, and I put together a document, kind of a standard operating procedure for hiring someone to help you. So we'll chat about that a little bit. And Juan, hey, excited about tonight's webinar. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I know that there's not a lot of folks here right now. However, if you are interested in joining our webinar later tonight, we're going to be talking about Section 3s, also talking a little bit about Q1 and how to handle it. But I'm actually going to show you all of my documentation from my Section 3. And you can join that webinar still if you head to cleartheshelf.com/S3. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat. It'll show up on YouTube for sure. I think it'll show up on Facebook and things like that. All right. Let me answer this question, and then I'm going to dive into tonight's VA funnel here. So how do you pay someone that's sourcing for you doing RA? It depends. So there are several different ways that you can handle that. One, you could do hourly, and you could pay them an hourly wage. And of course, there would be some KPIs that they'd have to hit, just like if you were paying anyone else an hourly wage. And you could make them an employee and use Gusto or something like that. You could pay them a per diem, and you could say, hey, I'm going to pay you $1.50 for every item that you source, and make sure that that's built into your margins and things like that. And then as long as the items hit their requirements, they get paid that amount of money. I also know people who have put folks on commission, and they get paid a percentage of like the gross that they spend. Some people have paid percentages on actual net income and tracked all of their items. So it really depends on what works for you. I personally like the hourly or the per diem with KPIs. All right, David, assuming there's going to be a Q&A for the webinar tonight. Yes, there will be a Q&A. Absolutely. Raining Soap. Hey, Chris, I've sold 5 ASINs for over 4 months now. I currently have 20 to 30% Buybox ownership over the last 30 days on all these. I haven't won the Buybox on any of these in 3 days. The Buybox for me is in Ohio. Buybox for me in Ohio is someone in California. Well, so here's the thing. The Buybox doesn't quite work like that. You may actually be getting the Buybox, okay? The Buybox is regional. Someone out of California has the Buybox where you are. Now, if they're merchant fulfilling out of California, then somehow they've got it, probably faster shipping to Ohio than you. But and I don't know whether you're FBA or merchant fulfilled, but the buy box is a little bit more tricky than just looking at the buy box ownership numbers. You may be showing up in New York and Pennsylvania, and they're showing up in Ohio. It just depends. But I wouldn't worry about it too much if it's only been a couple of days. Chances are you'll get that buy box back. I don't know, without looking at it, I can't say why they might be getting the buy box or looking that way. But it'll come back. It'll come around. I promise. Tom, all right. Two more quick questions, and we're going to run through this VA funnel. So I've got time to go through all of it. Hey, Tom, Amazon and Vico have been trying to get my standard shipping FBM orders to ship UPS ground and FedEx ground, charging sometimes more than twice USPS standard shipping price. Just started. It's very likely they're probably worried about getting the products to the customer in time for the holidays. And so they're trying to make sure that it's going the fastest route possible or the faster route. But if you have the opportunity to change it, you can. I changed one of mine today. I changed it from UPS to USPS. And it was still OTDR protected, all of that good stuff. And it, cost me a couple cents less, and I was good to go. Luke, I do have a long night ahead of me, so hopefully this voice holds up. I think it will. It's been putting in the reps here lately. All right, Corey, I'm going to get back to your question. Actually, I'll do this one now here real quick. You have 20K in capital monthly and 10 hours a week for all labor, sourcing, prep, account health, etc. Which model, without mixing them, are you picking to make the most ROI? OA, RA, or wholesale? Man, in 10 hours a week, that's kind of tough to do RA and be able to spend 20,000 in capital on the regular. Wholesale margins and ROI is not necessarily any better than RA or OA. What would be better is the amount of time that you may have to spend on it once you get the accounts. But with all of those stipulations, I'm probably going to go OA. And here's the reason. I can make my margins enough so that I could outsource the prep to a prep center and save on any sales tax. If you're in a sales tax state, which a lot of people are, there's only going to be, 3.5 states that are going to be no sales tax, depending on what you're buying. So if you buy properly, you could knock out the real cost of a prep center by buying appropriately. And that would give you, 8 to 9 hours a week to handle sourcing, and then an hour or two to handle account health. Some weeks it might be 0 for account health, but then, some weeks it's going to be 2 or 3 hours and things like that. So that's probably the way that I would go personally. Maybe mix in, and I know you said not to mix any, but I consider hybrid arbitrage online arbitrage because you are buying online and picking up in store. So I wouldn't step over those dollar bills if I had if I could pick them up on the way home from work or something like that. And if I could toss them into a box pretty easily and get them off to Amazon and they were nice, healthy margins and things like that. But probably OA based on those guidelines. Okay, let me move my screen over here and let me share my screen with you. So I can't remember who asked the other day, but someone said, hey, how would you go about hiring a VA? So I came up with this VA funnel, all right? Because I said you need to treat hiring a VA sort of like a funnel. Now, I don't like the term VA, virtual assistant. I really like team member. But to make it easy, everyone knows what VA is. Here are the sites to go looking for VAs: onlinejobs.ph, Upwork, virtualstaff.ph, freelancer.com, peopleperhour.com. Now, freelancer and people per hour are going to be really geared toward online marketing, web design, that kind of stuff, but you can find other people there sometimes. All right. The other one, the Upwork is everything. Online jobs is mostly, executive assistant, sales jobs. It's all over the place as well. The other one is networking with other sellers. Now, let me give you a little caveat to networking with other sellers. And Chris talked about this the other day. Chris Rasick talked about being able to hire other sellers' VAs when they're letting them go around this time of year. Now, that can be both good and bad. It can be bad because you may pick up the bad habits from the other person. It can be good because you may get an absolute rock star, and they just have to let them go for one reason or another. But all of these will work. And when it comes to networking with other sellers, don't be afraid to just ask in Facebook groups or Discord channels or wherever you hang out with other sellers. Say, hey, if you're getting rid of a VA, like talk to me. I'd love to see if they might be a fit for my team. Now, I went ahead and I put in a little bit of a sample ad here for you as well. I would not use this word for word, but your ad, whenever you go to hire someone, should be very descriptive, in my opinion. I see way too many ads out there that are really just, they're not good. They're not descriptive. They are not for they're not for folks who are trying to find the best person up front. So put in a good description. We're seeking a goal-oriented and detail-driven assistant to join our team and help us grow our Amazon business. We're looking for someone who's a quick learner with excellent communication skills, who enjoys asking questions and diving into new challenges. And this role is going to play a part in sourcing, managing accounts, and working with, I put cutting edge tools in here, but working with tools and strategies to stay ahead in the e-commerce space. Make sure to put in their responsibilities. You want to make sure that they know right up front what they're going to be doing. Okay. Maybe they don't want to source products. Maybe they've got a friend or a cousin or a brother who has done this and they don't think it's for them. All right. So put in the information in here line by line. All right. They're going to be doing product sourcing. They need to have some software proficiency. They might need to know some sourcing methods. They might need to do some data management, some account management, and then list it all out for them. List out your requirements. You want really great communication. You want them to have the ability to work independently. They might be working on opposite hours of you. You don't always have to make them work your 9 to 5. They can work their 9 to 5. And if they're on the other side of the world, that may be a complete opposite of you. I know my team gets started around 9 p.m. at night, and I'm packing it in at 9 p.m. at night. You want somebody who's a fast learner. And of course, everyone's a fast learner, but lay these out so that if you do have to let someone go, you can point to it exactly and say, hey, listen, I really wanted someone who's going to ask questions to make sure that they understand all of the tasks and the goals of our business. And I haven't gotten that from you. I want somebody who's goal-oriented. I want someone who may have some familiarity with tools like Keepa, RevSeller, Tactical Arbitrage, SellerAmp, etc. It's not required. We will provide training, but it would be a bonus, okay? How do you apply? Answer the following question in the subject line of your reply. Now, this is stupid, okay? What is the color of a banana? It's an idiotic question, but by throwing something like this in there, a simple thing that anybody should know the answer to, you are making sure that they have read through the whole thing. They're detail oriented. All right. And I know this is going to feel like you're an idiot. All right. Number 2, have them submit a video. It doesn't need to be a minute. You could say, anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds. Introduce yourself. Share a little bit about your skills. Share a little bit about your experience. That way you can hear them talk on video and see how they communicate. And maybe you need someone who speaks really, really good English, and they happen to be from another country where English is not their first language, but you're going to have them do outreach. All right. So you need someone who's going to be a strong speaker. Well, that's what this video will do for you. All right. Make sure they attach their resume and any other details that they may have. If they've been applying for jobs for any amount of time, they know that they're going to do this anyway. All right. Throw in what the perks are of working for you. You're going to provide training. You're going to make sure they have all the tools that they need, all the methods that they need. There's going to be an opportunity to grow. All right. And you can even lay out a little bit more what that opportunity to grow is. Maybe it's with a bonus program. Maybe it's the ability for health insurance after a certain period of time. And yes, you can buy health insurance for employees overseas. That is available. They get to work remotely. Of course, they already know that. Maybe you're flexible with hours. I'm pretty flexible. If one of my team members needs a day off because they're sick, their kids are sick, or whatever, as long as we're not abusing it, I understand. I know that life happens, and I know that they will try to make it up when they come back to work. And I will give them a day off here and there whenever they need it because they're sick. We make sure to pay for holidays. Like, it's in the grand scheme of things, I'm not paying a ton, even though it's a good living wage for them where they are. All right. And so I tend to be a little bit more flexible, especially if they're not abusing that. All right. Then now, if you've done all this, this question alone, what is the color of a banana? That is going to probably get rid of 70% of the people who actually send you an application. They're not going to put yellow in the subject line. And then with the video, it's very unlikely that everyone is going to submit the video. They're just going to be firing off resumes left and right, and you happen to be in the crossfire. Okay, so they don't submit that video, and you're going to get rid of another 30 to 40% of the people who actually apply. If you get 100 resumes, that makes your job a whole heck of a lot easier, because selecting and deleting is a lot easier than reading through 100 different resumes. Okay. All right. Now, and so there's the top part of your funnel. Now, here's the middle part of your funnel, the interview process. You should interview multiple people. You don't just stop because you are happy with the first person. Okay. You need to interview 5, 7, 10 different people to figure out who might mesh with you the best. Ask them questions. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience? Do you have experience with Amazon? There's a lot of folks who do. Okay. What tools or methods have you used in the past to source profitable products? Have you ever worked with Keepa, RevSeller, Tactical Arbitrage, Seller Amp? If not, do you pick up new software pretty quickly? Now, you're going to get a lot of yeses out of this. Okay. And that's okay. At least you can kind of get a gut feeling for what they mean. All right. Ask them about their experience with Google Sheets, all the things that we spend a lot of time in. How do they handle situations where they're unsure about something? And ask them for an example. Okay. Someone can say, oh, I handle situations very well when I'm unsure how to do a task. And then if you're like, well, can you give me an example of a time that you ran into a situation like that? What did you do? That makes it a little bit harder, because now they either need to tell you the truth or they need to make up a story on the spot, and you can pick up on that kind of stuff. Okay. Ask them about their work ethic. Ask them how they manage their time and prioritize tasks. Ask them how they, how they ask questions, how they like to communicate, how do they like to receive feedback. Okay. And then dive a little bit deeper. Give them a task. Okay. Say, hey, listen, I appreciate you taking the time for this interview. I want to move to the next step. I want to give you a little bit of a task. I think it should take you an hour or less. I am going to pay you for it. But it could be something like, hey, I want you to go and I want you to source 5 new profitable products. Maybe they don't know how to source. So say, hey, go to Walmart, go to Target, find me 5 products that match the Amazon listing and give me links for both of those in a Google Sheet. I want the image from the source site. I want the image from Amazon. I want the target. I want the URL from the source site, the URL from Amazon, and I want the title from both places. That way you can see that they're following directions, and have them do that via Loom. Okay. And make sure that they're recording it so you can see their process. After that, do a trial basis. All right. The ad and the interview process should whittle down your applicants a good number. Okay. But if you've got more than one qualified applicant, Hire multiple people to go through the training and handle some tasks for you. All right. If you've got the space available for only one hire, you keep the person who's the A performer. Okay. Great businesses are built when they have only A performers. Steve Jobs actually talks about when he was over at Next and how it was a team of like 300 A performers only. Was it Next or Pixar? Maybe it was Pixar. I can't remember. It was one of those two. And he loved it because everyone was top of their game. Okay. So hire the A performer. All right. For the other person, offer them a letter of recommendation if they did a good job, but they're just not the A performer. Make sure that the trial period, whether it's a week or 2 weeks, is paid. Okay. Don't try to get people to work for you for free. They got to live. All right. Make sure you have a welcome and orientation. Send them an email. Provide access to tools and resources. Tell them your introductions and expectations. Let them know how you're going to handle the training. If you don't have SOPs already set up, this is a good time to do it. Set up SOPs. And then once they learn how to do the procedures themselves, have them remake your SOPs both in English and in their first language for future hires. All right. Walk them through your sourcing methods. Walk them through how you manage data. Practice and give them feedback. Open up feedback loops. Have them source products. Have them record it in Google Sheets. Have them explain their logic. Okay. And then provide feedback every step of the way. Talk about how your communication is going to happen. Are you going to do daily or weekly check-ins? Have some sort of task tracking. Okay. Set up a progress report. What kind of KPIs do they need to hit? Set up a performance evaluation. All right. Try to make sure that they communicate. A lot of people from other countries, India, Philippines, etc., they say yes sir, no sir. They're not necessarily used to asking questions or asking for support. All right. And then finally, you want to be able to transition to have them handle things without you having to look over that shoulder. They'll be able to take ownership of the tasks. All right. Once they're able to do that, then it's going to be time to just do monthly or quarterly reviews. Talk about performance, set new goals, talk about what could be done better in the business. Your employees can be a great source of ideas going forward or how to do things better. Okay. Anyway, I've got about 2 more minutes, so I got to run. Okay. But let's see here. Just got a 55% shipping performance. My account is at risk of deactivation, but all my FBM orders were shipped on time. What do you do? You're going to probably need to open up a case and do a plan of action with them. All right, guys, I see a couple more questions here, but unfortunately, I've got to run. I've got to make it to my webinar. I am going to be back tomorrow at 5:30, and I won't have a hard stop, so I'll be able to answer some more questions. Come back, ask again. I know it's going to be a Friday. I know it's the night before Super Saturday, and it's the weekend before the holiday, but we're going to keep this thing going. All right, guys, have a great evening. I'll see you tomorrow at 5:30 on the dot, and have a great night, everybody. Talk to you soon.